Ain't looking for a lover to hold my hand. I ain't got no time for a dead end line. I hope you understand. So tell me, brother, where I might find a little bit of bother I can get for $1. I'll pay you for a time. Can you read my mind? It ain't no crime. What you're after, change to in time. You got a knock on the door at number 9. Ain't no find why you're looking for an Elvis brandy wine.
Desert sun, you get me high. How does he come on song? She said, baby, wanna have some fun? Just feel me, God, I won't tell anyone. I'm rising back from the sweet disease. There's a dread, not supposed to feel the scene.
Ain't looking for a lover to hold my hand. I ain't got no time for a dead end line. I hope you understand. So tell me, brother, where I might find a little bit of bother I can get for $1. I'll pay you for a time. Can you read my mind? It ain't no crime. What you're after, change to in time. You got a knock on the door at number 9. Ain't no find why you're looking for an Elvis brandy wine.
Desert sun, you get me high. How does he come on song? She said, baby, wanna have some fun? Just feel me, God, I won't tell anyone. I'm rising back from the sweet disease. There's a dread, not supposed to feel the scene. There's a man melting across the bar. She said, have you never kissed a girl before?
Welcome to Britain's Rare Guitars, and on this week's show we have the guitar collector extraordinaire Barry Gaskell with his amazing Beatles-themed guitar.
I go and visit some guitar auctions and find out about this George Harrison guitar that recently sold for £350,000.
And we also have the legend that is Lars Mullen in on the show with us. But first we have some music from the fabulous Charlotte Mary, accompanied by our own James Frankland.
The one you're after, is it me or is it cursing your life? You're scared to walk out of the door, thinking they'd be there for a while. spun inside your web. You take me for a fool and you're wrong. I won't make the same mistake again, knowing that your hurting is enough. Trying your hardest to run away from the truth, making it easier for me to run away from you.
Right, well, thanks for coming in today, Charlotte. Loved the first track. What was it called?
Distance.
Brilliant. Well, could you tell me and the viewers at home a little bit about Charlotte Mary?
Yep, so I'm a songwriter from Manchester and I write sort of Americana music, and that's me.
So I noticed that you're from Manchester, but
Yeah.
you sing in a normal accent.
Yeah.
Do you find that, do you find that?
Normal accent, I love it. Yeah, so it's one of those things really, even though I am northern, I don't have that twang in my music, so I'm not Oasis yet, but when my passion comes out, I'll probably end up there.
Have you ever messed up though when you've been recording? Have you ever come out?
Yeah, there's the occasional sort of e-bag gums coming out every now and again, but yeah, it's been good.
Can you tell us about what other music influences your music?
Yeah, so Springsteen, Fleetwood Mac, sort of Americana, sort of 70s vibe, which I absolutely love, which came from my dad's side of playing music. But yeah, that's my influences.
Cool. And how can we find your music online?
So if you head to, I'm on Instagram, Facebook and SoundCloud, so you can find me on Facebook at Charlotte Mary Music, you can find me on Instagram at Charlotte Mary UK and SoundCloud on C Mary Music.
And what about gigs? You got many lined up for this year?
Yeah, I've got quite a few lined up for this year, but if you head over to my website, which is charlottemary.co.uk, you can find all the listings on there.
Cool. And obviously we know James is your guitarist.
Indeed.
I mean, what's that like? He doesn't even drive, right?
I know, I'm his chauffeur. He turns up, plays incredible guitar, and then we drive home together.
And you drop him off first, taxiing it?
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm his chauffeur, but trust me, when it's the other way around and I'm up there with the stars, he'll be driving me, so it's all good.
I'm here with Barry, and Barry has been a collector of rare guitars for, what, 30 years?
And the rest.
And the rest, so more?
I'd say pretty years. Yeah,
So what was it that got you so into collecting guitars then?
Well, when I was a young lad, my elder brother played in the 60s Liverpool boom, you know, and I used to go along with him for the ride and see all this, the glamour of the bands and the clubs and the whole scene, just magic. And now as I grew a bit older, I got the bug myself, played in bands, got guitars, wanted the best guitar I could get and couldn't afford, and then you see the shadows with the Fenders and you're lusting after those, you know. The fire was lit and that was it.
That was it. Excellent.
Got to have them, got to have them.
Yeah, a passion, an obsession.
An obsession is a word, that's a good word.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So he's actually brought something really, really cool today, something so old it doesn't have a name. I think it doesn't. Tell us about it, what is it?
It's got a designation number. Because it's an endorsed guitar, Roy Smeck, it's got an endorsed 104 number. All his guitars have that number on it. It's a 1938 Recording King Gibson-made Roy Smeck model archtop guitar. So it's a nice beast.
Yes, definitely. Something I noticed immediately when I picked this thing up is the giant. It's huge. It's the biggest one I've touched.
V-profile neck.
Yeah, the big V-profile neck. Now, why would it have a V-profile neck?
Because it wasn't Gibson's premier model. It was a slightly lesser model, and economics being what it was, it's cheaper to build a substantial neck guitar with a good, strong profile than put a truss rod in.
Okay.
And they didn't want
just cutting cost, little corners here
Yeah,
and there.
they didn't want to compete with the Premier guitars, so that was the reason, really.
Okay, and something else that's really special is the pickup, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Charlie Christie pickup.
Type pickup. Because they didn't want to compete again with their Premier model, which was the ES150, which was called the Charlie Christian guitar. Even though it's a Charlie Christian pickup, in essence, it doesn't look like one. They didn't want that competition again with the Premier models.
So they made it a bit of a poor man's just
Charlie Christian pickup.
Help with the money,
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, and being such an old guitar, I'm curious, what kind of wood would they have used back then in the 30s?
The body is made of, back and sides made of maple laminate. The top is a carved spruce top. which is really nicely made. It's an arch top.
Gorgeous colour.
Yeah,
Tobacco
yeah.
sunburst,
It's two-tones, yeah, like a two-tone sunburst. The neck is mahogany. The board is rosewood, probably Brazilian. That was the premier wood at the time. And bound with, I think they called it an ivorine.
Wow. So it's still really exotic, even though even though it's poor man's guitar.
Even though it was below the premier model, it was still a very well-made guitar. And it's nice now. It's got its original tuning pegs on it.
The original.
Yeah, yeah.
How many years? 80 years old.
80 plus. Yeah, 80 years old. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And they still function. They're still.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been played very much. I think it's been, someone's had it lovingly in a case and it's not seen light of day for many years.
Well, what kind of musician would play this instrument?
Jazz guitarists, big band.
Just
It was very
comping,
much a comping, rhythmic thing.
I love the Gretsch Country Gentleman bass he brought in for me. It was a monster.
Sounded great, Becky, as did the Charlie Christian guitar.
Later in the series, we're going to be showing you how you can get started as a guitar collector.
And one of those things you might do is go to a guitar auction. Let's see what happened when I went to Gardiner and Houlgate guitar auction in Bath. As you can all see at home, there is a sea of guitars behind me. But Luke, is there anything in particular we should be looking out for today?
Yes, I mean, in this room, you know, that we're in at the moment, we've got around 400 guitars that are within the price range of, you know, your £50 Squire right up to your £1,000 to £2,000 Fenders, Gibsons, you know, you name it, the big brand names, the things that people are after. You know, we've got a lot of quirky stuff that can fall under the radar a little bit and can be seen as bargains. And then next door we have another room with all guitars £2,000 and above, and we've got guitars that could make £20,000 plus.
Well, stop you there, because last time you guys sold a £350,000 George Harrison guitar. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what made it so special?
It was a circa 1960 Maton Master Sound MS500 model, an Australian-made instrument. This guitar in particular was loaned to George Harrison to use when his Country Gent was being repaired. He used it on, it was approximately 9 shows, but the significant part of the provenance is it was used on the last ever Cavern performance in the summer of 1963, which was the rise of Beatlemania as well.
So that just went...
So that just, you know, created the interest. We had a pre-sale estimate of, you know, 300 to 400,000, and like you said...
So you were actually right on the money there?
We were right on the money with, you know, the final cost, yeah.
Wow, okay, cool. So what if I wanted to, I don't, but what if I wanted to sell one of my guitars here? What would be the process? How would I get involved? Is it really difficult or is it really easy?
It's a very simple process, and then, you know, the process is seen right through from cataloguing the guitar properly, professional photography for all lots featured up on the website and in the catalogue. The physical catalogues are sent out to a dedicated focus mailing list, email mailing list, alerts are sent out, and then we get up on the rostrum, sell the guitars. I do it myself, so I'm exactly, yeah. So not quite as frantic as a catalogue auction, but
288. We have the 1946 Selmer Petit Bouche acoustic jazz guitar. There we are, the last of the Selmers there. I can start with bids away at £8,500. Do I see 8,800 now?
We do get through at a rate of around 80 lots an hour, so it's still pretty fast. You know, there's more than one a minute. So yeah, we get through at a fast pace, and yeah, and then after the sale and everything's done, we make quick payment shortly after the auction itself.
Selling then at £14,500 is a room bidder. All done at £14,500 and finished, are we? Yours for £14,500, sir. And
I've just been handed this amazing resonator guitar, piece of blues history right here in my hands. This is Bukka White's original guitar from 1933. It's even got his set list on it. Now, I'd love to show you this, but I can't play slide guitar at all. But I've seen someone around who does, and I'm going to see if he'll give us a little play now, all right? Andrew, thanks for playing that guitar, because I can't play anything like that.
It was a pleasure, believe me.
Could you tell us what you've got in your hands?
The reason it's a pleasure is because I love playing these sort of guitars anyway. These are national resonator guitars. But this one, for a blues player like me, is like the holy grail, because it was owned by Bukka White. Bukka White was originally played in Mississippi, on the farms in Mississippi back in the 1930s. And he played this guitar. And but he kind of disappeared a bit, and like so many of the old blues players, he was rediscovered in the 1960s, mostly through the Newport Festival in America. And these young white audiences suddenly discovered these old blues players, and it was just astonishing. And Bukka White was the hero, still is for people like me. His style of playing was very much like I was just playing, but a lot better than me. But this was his guitar, and the really lovely bit is, apart from the fact it's a gorgeous guitar, it's got his set list on the side.
That's awesome. That's brilliant.
I can't prove it, but I have seen pictures of him playing with a set list on the side of his guitar.
Well, it must be wonderful, even if you don't buy it, to come here and try something like that.
There's no way I can buy this, believe me. But historically, it's just, as I say, it's like me discovering a Christian discovering the Holy Grail. It is just the guitar to play and to hold.
Welcome to Britain's Rare Guitars. We've got Lars Mullen here. Now, Lars is a journalist, a freelance photographer, plays guitars, is a collector, well, loads of stuff. What else have you done?
Play guitar is the most important thing.
Of course, play guitar. Now, all these guitars here today are your guitars, but let's start with this one I've got in my hand.
Yeah, we brought a few along. There's quite a few in my house, far too many, I'm told. Well, actually, they're not kept in my house. I have a little...
A separate room?
No, one day a week, one day a month, I have a boys' day out, and I go to a lock-up where they're kept, and there's an amp played very loud, and it just airs the cobwebs. But this one here, 63 Strat, that's probably, yes it is, it's the first, well, look at it now, but it was, at the time, it was the most decent guitar I had.
Well, this is obviously worn.
Very worn.
It looks fantastic.
I got it in '71 when there was no such thing as vintage. Anything vintage was an old chair you might find in an antique shop, wasn't there? It was clean when I got it. It needed a refresh.
It's not now. And you
Wherever you're storing it, it's not really working.
No, well,
right?
it's in the lock-up and there's a lot of dust in it, but I just can't bring myself to clean it. I don't know, I retired it about 10 years ago.
Oh, it looks fantastic. I love the dirt. Well, let's get it plugged in and see how it sounds.
So it sounds like you got the best job in the world. Can you tell us some more about your work in the music industry?
Best job in the world. I do like what I do, else I wouldn't do it for the pennies that they pay. Nothing changes. The music business is different to anything else. I'm going to get a T-shirt. Sorry I didn't call back. It's the music business. I interview lots of artists and I see lots of guitars in magazines and I write about them. Interviewing people and the research you have to do as well. I really do like doing that. And as I'm freelance, I can write whoever I want to. And I get to go to the NAMM shows in Nashville and California.
Wonderful. I've always wanted to go.
And all those places. It's good fun, and like Nashville is more flat picking acoustic country rock, where the California NAMM, that's full on rock. I look like I work in a bank there. Yeah. I got the shortest hair. It's full on. It's good.
So your time at the NAMM show, you must see lots of interesting instruments, which I guess brings us on to here. We've got the Music Vox Space Ranger, bass and guitar. Can you tell us some more about these instruments?
Yes, I've always had a bent for something a little bit unusual, having lots of Strats, Les Pauls and stuff. Great, but I just like something outrageous, and I met this guy who makes these. That's the 6-string Space Ranger in taxi cab yellow. I've put the dice on the on the things a little bit, and this is the bass. But I was at a NAMM show, I think it must have been mid-90s, something like that, quite a while ago. Guitars as far as you can see. and I could see these cashew nut hockey stick headstocks sticking up because he had them. I mean, what on earth is that? Les Paul sat by the fire with all sorts, had a little meltdown. But bless him, he's gone on, he's still pumping them out and using like 50s Dan Dare adverts and rockets and stuff. But the latest ones have got holes right up here and pointy holes up here. And there's a lot of credible artists playing them now.
So you're also a musician as well, like you play in bands?
Yes. Since knee high to whatever, my first Bill Shaw haircut, 11-year-old playing a Spanish guitar in the school band, thrumming away, about 50 of us. But then I bought the Hofner, as I say, and went in the local band called Howitzer, the gun Howitzer in Torquay. We were the local band that does quite good, and we got on the support act for the Torquay Town, and we played with Eric Clapton, Free, Rory Gallagher. Oh, so many of them. I was 19, I was. And I was going into work next day and they said, who'd you play with last night? Eric Clapton. Never heard of him. So that was a bit tough. But later on, for about, I think it was about 9 years, I was professional in a Status Quo tribute band when tribute bands were rocking. That was hard, 5-6 nights a week. And anybody tells me it's easy 3 chords, I start getting angry. You know? It's full on. I interviewed the guys in choir and they said the only way to play that stuff is 100%.
Well, that's Lars Mullen. As you can see, he's a bit of a character and a bit of a legend.
Good news then, Gareth, because Lars is going to be joining us in the autumn for our new series of programmes.
Barry's back in the studio.
And he's got a very special guitar for us.
Let's take a look at a video we recorded here last year. What you got for us, Barry?
Well, it's a 1959 Hofner Club 40, German guitar. Again, like so many guitars, spruce top, German maple, back and sides, single pickup, and a nice original instrument of its day, you know.
But is this actually a rare guitar? It's not that rare, is it?
In itself, no. They're getting rare. The Club 40 is probably the most desirable because of its Lennon-McCartney Beatles association. But not a particularly rare guitar.
Okay. But so how much would one of these instruments cost then?
In its all original condition, playable, like most guitars have to be, and if you got an original case, probably £800, £1,200, something like that.
All right, so we're talking £1,000 if you're interested in buying something like this. But this instrument is probably worth a little bit more. Why?
Well, it does have an association with, we think, with Lennon. It was sold in Hamburg in 1960, Christmas 1960. When the Beatles were deported, George was deported for being underage. They all made their way home. John had no money at all and stayed for an extra week, 10 days, not quite sure.
Busking,
not
trying
quite
to
sure
get some money. Yeah,
not quite sure who he played with either. But we think it was either given to him to sell to fund his trip home to Liverpool, or someone sold it and gave him the money. So, we don't know, we're researching it. So
wow, so this could actually be a bit of Beatle
He could have handled that in the beer cellar in Hamburg, you don't know.
And we've got some proof as well, because in the guitar cases, you've got 2 little plaques that,
one basically says that. The other one is it was designated to the Liverpool project in 1980, and the plaque says in memory of John Winston Lennon, 1940-1980. But I think it was a project that never got off the ground.
Okay.
So I don't think it happened until maybe 4 or 5 years later when the Beatles Museum opened.
Wow.
We don't know. We're trying to research it and find out its life.
Well, if anybody at home knows, if John Lennon's watching, get in touch. We'd love to find out more about this, wouldn't
Yes,
we?
please.
Yeah. On next week's show, we have music from renowned classical guitarist John Gelazzi.
And one of the UK's premier luthiers, Rosie Hayden-Rich from Turnstone Guitars, will be in the studio.
I'll be visiting ATB Guitar's brand new guitar lounge. Trust me when I say it's guitar heaven. But before you go, do check out our website, britain'srareguitars.com, for all your vintage and boutique guitar needs.
Finally, we'll leave you with some more music from Charlotte Mary. This is a brand new single. She calls it a mess. We think it's all right. We'll see you next time.
Leaving someone's out there, and I won't be cursed for all my life. I remember waking up here, and all the rest of the day just seems a blur. Dreaming and so hoping that I'll find my own way home soon, but I won't be broken. I'll stand up to what I think is right. I won't be hurting. I'm tired of staying up all night. Now that this all makes sense, it was your fault we ended up in this mess. I remember all these voices telling me I'm not good enough for what I do. Nothing left to embrace the perfect when there's nothing left to lose. But I won't be broken. I'll stand up to what I think is right. I won't be hurting. I'm tired of staying up all night. Now that this all makes sense, it was your fault we ended up in this mess. And I won't be broken. I'll stand up to what I think is right. I won't be hurting. I'm tired of staying up all night. I won't be broken. I'll stand up to what I think is right. I won't be hurting. I'm tired of staying up all night. Now that this all makes sense, it was your fault we ended up in this mess. It was your fault we ended up in this mess. It was your fault we ended up in this mess.
Ain't looking for a lover to hold my hand. I ain't got no time for a dead end line. I hope you understand. So tell me, brother, where I might find a little bit of bother I can get for $1. I'll pay you for a time. Can you read my mind? It ain't no crime. Got what you're after, change to in time. You gotta knock down the door at number 9. Ain't no find while you're looking for an Elvis brandy wine.
Just on me, baby, lose yourself tonight. I see this feeling, what's wrong, it's alright. Tonight I want your lights up against mine. She said, kiss me, girl, give me all your love. Do I ever Like the desert sun, you get me high. High as you come on song. She said, baby, wanna have some fun. Just feel me, God, I won't tell anyone. I'm sick back from a sweet disease. There's a dread, not supposed to feel.